Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Hello. Thanks for coming. My name's Bob Summerwill. I have been involved with Ethereum since very early. I first met Vitalik in 2014. Really got involved myself in 2015. Early days of Ethereum as a history project, which I really started in 2017. It's been fallow for a number of years, but then revived this last year or so. So early days of Ethereum, it's essentially gathering social historical information about Ethereum and about the individuals. So I've got profiles on about 200 people who were involved in the early days. On individual profiles, they're all sort of like Wikistar with a bunch of cross links. I've got articles, I've got videos, and an interview series as well. What I'm going to do today is really...
Yeah, maybe just say, what's your...
I'm going to whip through various historical things from 2014. I mean, I have a huge amount of content, so just going to show you a few things, mainly from 2014, or really the first sort of year of the project. So this is a place called Calafou, near Barcelona, which is kind of a bit of a squat collaborative where Vitalik went on his sort of 6-month journey prior to starting Ethereum.
What's your name and like talk about some of the things you've done?
Sure. Name is Vitalik Buterin. I write for the Bitcoin magazine. I've been doing that for 2 years. I've also been more recently getting into Bitcoin development. I work with Mihai on both the magazine and on this new project called Agora, which is sort of like a marketplace for Bitcoin, kind of like eBay, but plus a whole load of social networking, plus cryptocurrencies and other cool stuff. And just now working on multi-signature transactions.
So it is a very sort of crypto-anarchisty kind of place. And I only recently saw this little video, which is kind of fun. So the Unsystem Collective, really Amir Taki was kind of the main guy there. So Amir was the 5th ever Bitcoin developer. He actually went off to Syria to fight ISIS as well, so he's a real kind of revolutionary. Anyway, so that was some of the culture that you had leading into the beginning of Ethereum, though a lot of that didn't really come across. Anyway, we're now going to head to Toronto for Bitcoin Decentral, which was run by Anthony Diorio, another of the co-founders, and Vitalik was a very regular visitor there.
On January 1st, 2014, Bitcoin Decentral launched. Bitcoin Decentral is Canada's first co-working space for Bitcoin and other disruptive technology innovations. What you're seeing now is the launch turnout from our January 1st event. Hundreds of people's home of CryptoKit, CoinTalk, and the Toronto Bitcoin Meetup, and working space for the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada, Ethereum, and many more projects to follow. With over 5,500 square feet and 4 floors of space, Bitcoin Decentral's goal is to provide the location, services, and tools for... I
don't know if you spotted there, Joe Lubin was just in frame there on the left-hand side. Where are we? Can't see it there. Anyway, so this was the first night that Joe Lubin got involved with Ethereum, was the 1st of January. He went along to this opening and, connected and carried on. That was also the first night for William Mugia.
Bitcoin Decentral's goal is to provide the location, services, and tools
Joe was on the left there.
for disruptive technology, innovation, and
It's also going to be office space for a new coin that's coming out called Ethereum, which is the brainchild of Vitalik Buterin, which is right over there in the corner there. Vitalik is one of the head writers for Bitcoin Magazine, the smartest person I believe in Bitcoin, that knows Bitcoin inside and out, the best writer in Bitcoin, and I think just a genius. So he's coming up with a new coin that we think will be Bitcoin 2 or a crypto.
So that was Anthony Diorio. It was Anthony who reached out to Charles Hoskinson to get some sort of technical evaluation on that. Anthony also brought in Amir Shetrit, another of the founders. Joe, had appeared there. You still at this point did not have any of the other developers. They came a little bit later.
Currency tracked.
So Ethereum, instead of having lots of features.
So this is a couple of weeks later in Miami where Ethereum was first announced, 26th of January.
Tries to be simple. It says, Ethereum, we do not have features. We have just the programming language. So everything that you want to implement through Ethereum, you would have to implement as a contract.
So straight after that talk, everyone was sort of went outside and sort of you're getting mobbed there with these questions, right? A lot of excitement at this announcement. So just to the right there of Vitalik, you can see Joe Lubin, and then Anthony Diorio is the little tiny head down there. Dan Larimer, the infamous Dan Larimer, had some ambush questions there. So that's Dan of BitShares, EOS fame. The other thing that happened there in Miami is there was a house which Anthony Diorio rented out. Basically, Anthony was bankrolling everything until the crowd sale. So this place was where many of the people met for the first time. So, across the front there, you've got Gavin Wood, now of Polkadot. You've got Vitalik, you've got Anthony. Taylor Gehring was one of the co-founders of the Ethereum Foundation, took many of these photos. You've got Joe Lubin right at the back there, and Charles Hoskinson, many other early people here. So that was a real sort of hangout and first physical get-together of people who'd been working from all over the place.
Gavin Wood for you, thanks.
Hello. So this was immediately after Miami. Gav did his first public talk in London. So Gavin Wood was the CTO. He built the C++ client. He wrote the yellow paper. And he sort of started the Solidity project as well.
Thank you. Yeah, wow. I thought it was going to be about 5 or 10 people around a table at a pub like the Ethereum meetup, but yeah, I was a bit wrong there, wasn't I? All right. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ethereum. I'm going to go off on one a little bit. I'm not going to go for Vitalik's talk where he went about how it's going to revolutionize altcoin creation. I'm going to move more for the kind of what it'll mean maybe for society. I've had a bit of a think about this over the past.
So yeah, as it says at the back there, Ethereum's purpose is to give life to the experiments that will change society in the 21st century. So that's quite a bold kind of aim. So that was from Charles. So Charles Hoskinson was actually the CEO for the first 7 months of the project.
Week or two, a few sort of revelations.
Hi, I'm Charles Hoskinson. I'm a core developer of the Ethereum project, and I'm a theoretical mathematician and computer scientist.
Would anyone like to guess how old Charles was at that point? 25, really. He's always looked like he's about 50.
Ethereum is a project that's attempting to do that. We're taking a very beautiful, very simple Turing-complete programming language, we're combining it with a blockchain, and we're putting it together in this incredibly elegant foundation that allows everybody to implement things like smart property, smart contracts, their own version of Dropbox on top of that platform. And the goal is to be agnostic, it's to be neutral, it's to allow everybody to come in to innovate.
This is Charles arriving in Zug. So shortly after the Miami conference, many of them moved to Zug. There'd been sort of a determination that Switzerland was probably the best place to launch such a project, not from Toronto, as Anthony had hoped.
My name is...
Another key figure here is Stefan Toile. So Stefan was the sort of community communications guy, and later notoriously part of Slockit and the DAO.
Stefan Toile. I'm the CCO for Ethereum. My background is in IT, startups, and development. My role at Ethereum is to bring together entrepreneurs, developers, and investors to build decentralized applications on our platform.
And Stefan was actually a very key guy. I only recently found out on the website there was Ralph Merkel was listed. And I always thought that was a joke. It was like, right, I own Satoshi as an advisor. But apparently Ralph Merkel actually really was an advisor through Stefan, incredibly. Not for a long time, but still. Bitcoin Expo happened in Toronto in April of that year. Again, Anthony Diorio led. So he was the head of the Canadian Bitcoin Association. Ethereum were the headline sponsor for this Bitcoin event. The Ethereum company, as it was at this point, it was a for-profit company in Switzerland. And you had an expo and they were swagging it up. One and only time. So Gavin Joe there. Taylor Gehring in the middle. This is Richard Stott, one of the designers in the front. There was also a hackathon of which nearly all of the projects were Ethereum based. My apologies for the volume. Amir Taki there. Ethan Bookman of Cosmos. Vlad Zamfir, there's Charles. Not very much later, so we're through to June now. So this is a pensive Vitalik wearing the same shirt. He's had that on for about 3 or 4 months, hasn't he? That same one. So this is Vitalik here with Gav, and his back to us is Mihai Alesi, who was the co-founder of Bitcoin Magazine, together with Vitalik. So this is just prior to the Red Wedding, as they called it, where both Amir, but more famously Charles Hoskinson, were kicked unceremoniously from the project, and in Charles's behalf, really, because nobody wanted to work with him anymore. So a little pensive, awaiting for the people. And then here we have the back patio where the whole rest of the team stood while Vitalik was inside making his decision on what would happen. So here we are, there's Zug. A couple of months later, I think this is August 2014 now. They've been working on the AV a bit, got some nice graphics. So this was a London meetup where Jeff Wilker, the Go lead, and Gav were talking. So here we're through into the Ethereum Foundation period. it was July of 2014
So
that,
today we have
that the foundation was formed, and a clear decision had been taken to leave that for-profit side behind. And there's going to be a foundation, and the crowd sale would have been ongoing at this point. Dev there, also ETHDev, was the group that was doing the development, so they were basically a subsidiary funded by the EF. So Stefan here again, introducing Jeff and Gav.
Gavin Wood and Jeffrey Wilkie here to talk to us about Dev. Dev is the one of the two entities.
So we have two languages, two clients that have full connection towards each other. They can talk to each other and have an actual exchange between two coins that actually don't really know anything of each other. As well as a DNS replacement. So instead of going to google.com, you can now go to google.eth. And because, for example, if your DNS server would now be, if it just shuts down or decides that the name that you registered is actually too valuable, it could basically just take your stuff and run with it if it wants.
So Namecoin, implementing Namecoin was one of the examples that they had from the very start. Really a proto-ENS.
So this is the exchange. And I think, Gavin, are you going to say anything about that?
Yeah, so this is the first decentralized, well, actually it's probably not the first, but it's the first that I know of, decentralized exchange that runs on the Ethereum platform.
This is nearly a year before mainnet.
It's pretty standard exchange, really. I mean, it's got an order book. These are my orders that I've put in so far. I've put an order in. I want 20,000 JFE. That's the Jeff coin. Wanted at whatever it is, 1 2/3 Jeff for Gav. So I've offered 12,000 Gav for 20,000 Jeff. I obviously don't value Jeff quite as much as Jeff does.
If anyone is interested, GavCoin is actually wrapped and live. You can dex it up and get yourself some GavCoin right now. And just a little bit later that year, we come into DevCon 0. So DevCon 0 was the first Ethereum conference. It was a private event, though. It wasn't a public one. You can see, there's 30 in the photo. I think there are about 40 people there. Mainly Ethereum Foundation people, but, others from the outside. And what I'm just going to close with is Gav invited everyone to introduce themselves.
I would now like to get everybody to just give a very short 30-second introduction as to who they are in this project.
Yeah, so I came onto the project back in
This is Aaron
February.
B. Cannon. He doesn't say his name.
Hey, I'm Roman. Hey, I'm Lefteris.
Hi, I'm Marek.
Hi, I'm...
Hello, I'm Alex.
Yeah, so I'm Christoph.
Hey guys, I'm Vitalik. I'm helping out a little on the Python client.
Hi, I'm Daniel, and I was...
Hello, I'm Jan. So,
Yeah, I'm Christian. I'm Felix.
I'm Victor.
Hi, I'm Marian.
Hey everyone, I'm Vlad.
Hello, I'm Pavel.
Hi, I'm Alex.
Hi, I'm Jutta.
I'm Henning.
Hi, I'm Conrad.
Hey, Joseph Lubin, one of the founders.
Hi, I'm Joris. I created.
So I'm Joel Dietz.
Hey guys, I'm Brian.
Yeah, hi, I'm Arkady. Hi, I'm Stefan. I'm the CCO for Ethereum at Dev.
I'm Vinay Gupta.
Hi, I'm Jason.
Jeff.
Hi, man. My name is Jeff. I do the Go implementation. I'm trying to...
Okay, hi, I'm Christian.
Hi everyone, I'm Ken.
Hi, everyone. I'm George.
So yeah, Ethereum was always the work of many hands. So, I just wanted to bring some of those faces to you. do head to the website. It's early days of eth.org, and I now work on STRATO. We are tokenizing gold and silver and bringing DeFi on top of that. The code base was started in 2014 as well. And I thank you. Yeah, any questions? We've got a minute. No takers?
I just wanted to know what motivated the switch from profit-based to foundation.
So Ethereum was quite unique because there were actually 8 co-founders who largely had not even met each other beforehand. So it became apparent quite quickly in those early months that they had quite misaligned visions of what they thought things would be. Really, between crypto Google or crypto Mozilla, that was the question: is it going to be a for-profit company that makes something and then open sources it, or are you going to do the thing in an open way from the start? So really, like a lot of that tension point at Red Wedding, beyond personal things with Charles, was really that line in the sand. Which way is it going to go? There was also, I think, a misunderstanding of thinking it would be really hard to do a foundation in Switzerland, and it turned out not to be. So basically, straight after that meeting, that decision was made. I mean, Anthony Diorio very much wanted it to be a for-profit because he'd actually donated, basically, well, not donated, he'd lent pretty much all of his money into that early funding. And, as he said, I didn't put all my money in for it just to be a non-profit. It was not a donation. Okay, cheers everyone.